Hello and welcome everyone back to the PDA podcast. Today we have a special guest joining us, and we're specifically going to about a certain topic that has been recently going around, that has been captivating a lot of audiences. Today we're going to talk about Xbox, exclusively Xbox. And joining me today is a really, really old friend of mine, going way back to high school. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Xbox fanboy, number 99?
Hey guys, thanks Billy for inviting me to the podcast. This is the beta. I'm Billy Yunior. I have known him since early high school. We have played a lot of games together, a lot of Xbox games together, especially in the 360 days. But thanks for having me on.
Always lovely to have a friend over. So reason is the reason I got you because well, you are genuinely one of the most massive Xbox fanboys that I know, and does not mean like throwing a jab at you or anything. Just like genuinely, you do really love the branding of Xbox itself, and you're somewhat like I wouldn't say anti PS PlayStation, but you've always been more veering towards Xbox than any other console that I've known. So I felt like it was the most appropriate person to bring onto this podcast, this special, which was you. So, to further not delay anything, how about we head to the very topic that everyone's raving about, which is Xbox lowering the cost of Game Pass and booting out Call of Duty. What are your thoughts up here?
Yeah, so the first thing we got to talk about are the Game Pass prices, right? Because what they were originally $30 a month for the Ultimate, and they had the other tiers below it that were also quite expensive, and then they had increased the prices over the years slowly but surely. And then the most recent one where they had increased it from about 20 to $30, I think that pretty much like broke any kind of trust that consumers had in Xbox. And with this new CEO coming in to fix an Xbox, and one of the first things she does is she gets on the good graces of all the fans and decreases the price of Game Pass Ultimate from $30, $29.99 to $22.99 or $23, a $7 difference. In addition to the other tiers decreasing as well, because I believe PC Game Pass went from about 16 to 14 and a half, and the premium and the essential also decreased in prices. But yes, the price of Game Pass Ultimate decreasing $7 monthly has really reinvigorated, I guess, people's interest in Xbox again, because a lot of subscription services decrease in price, especially one by 25%. So she has been doing a really good job recently of really trying to get, I guess, the core Xbox gamers, the ones that have been there since the beginning, to look for something for them to look forward to. And the fact that she started with something like this, I think she can build on it, and I think they can really start to put their stamp down back on the console business that has just been in the gutter the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. Like I do genuinely agree because like when she first took the mantle of CEO for Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, a lot of people were very skeptical because her main tasks in Microsoft was the head of AI, in the head of AI divisions. So especially like with AI taking over a lot of jobs and everything, people were like, oh no, they just brought her in to sign the death warrant of Xbox. Apparently, no. Her and her PR team and Matt Bowie, they're really pushing to bring back the Xbox brand back from the horrible era we had of Microsoft gaming. That's out, like that's been pushed. That is being pushed out, and yeah, I'm genuinely loving this. And of course, what we want to see more from her is action rather than just empty words from similarities of like Sarah Bond, where like, oh, we should come on any, I guess, talk show or whatever, and she would rave on, like when they closed down the creators of Hi-Fi Rush. I don't remember the company's name. I apologize, everyone. Um,
Tango Studios.
Tango Studios. Yes. So when Tango Studios was closed off, Sarah Bond just got on, and everyone's like, well, yeah, they won prizes, they brought in good amount of profit, people really jumped on Xbox Game Pass, and her shutting, like, her reasoning to close or like shut down, attempt to shut down Tango was just fell on all deaf ears. So a lot of people were just annoyed about the direction where Xbox is going. And on top of it, Sarah Bond was the one who spearheaded, this is an Xbox. You see this mug? It is an Xbox. Your PC is an Xbox. Your mobile is an Xbox. Whatever you have in your hand is an Xbox. It really killed the Xbox brand because it used to be connected to the console. Then it went, to whatever device is there. So them bringing back like Sarah Bond also mentioned, she is bringing back exclusivity and all of these. I'm sorry, not Sarah Bond. Aisha Shamar is bringing back exclusivity and pushing like for a more stronger Xbox brand is something that a lot of people are cheering on about.
Well, I mean, you kind of touched on it briefly when you mentioned about this is an Xbox. So, like, if we consider what she's done within the first, what, 60 days that she's been head of Xbox, the first thing she did was she killed the this is an Xbox motto. That was one of the worst things, one of the worst possible, like, things that you can give your consumer. Like, it was an insult to say that this was an Xbox. Oh, your toilet is an Xbox. Your TV is an Xbox. Your wallet is now an Xbox. Anything that has a screen on it apparently can be an Xbox. So I mean, let's just consider what she's done. So she does that, and then not only that, but she changes the name of the brand from Microsoft Gaming, something boring, very corporate, to back to Xbox. While we are giving her a good amount of credit for doing the most basic things, I mean, it just shows you how bad it was beforehand. And recently they had just updated their logo, right? Because even the logo, it was just a white X, very boring, very plain. And even some of the most simple changes, like changing it back to a green X or changing the name, it does something to the brand. And to be honest, I have been seeing that a lot of people have been starting to get more interested and like on social media, people are talking about, okay, I'm gonna buy an Xbox now, whether it be a Series X, whether it be a Series S. Now, I know we have some friends that have totally abandoned Xbox because of the Game Pass Ultimate price, and they are on their little PlayStations playing whatever games when they could just easily do that on Xbox. And they have also been like, oh, but this isn't enough for me, oh, this isn't enough. I mean, like I said, she's doing a really good job, and she's really bringing back the cool factor that was on Xbox. Like I've had an Xbox since probably, I would say, since about 2003 when my dad bought it for me, just on some random day in March, and I've been hooked on it ever since
Wait,
because,
so
I
you
mean,
were an OG Xbox player, like the Duke.
oh yeah, yeah. So I was not only was I OG, so I didn't get it when it launched, but I got it a couple of years later because I doubt a 6-year-old would know what to do with an Xbox. But when I was 8 years old, yeah, my dad got an Xbox for me and my brother, and we've been playing on it ever since. I've been playing on it ever since. But yeah, there was always this thing about Xbox being really cool. Like, they always had some kind of different things that they did differently from PlayStation. So they were actually the ones that had the hard drive in the console, or they could have 4 players on controllers at the same time. This was not something that PlayStation 2 had at the time. So it was always about innovating things. It was always this cool factor that people would always talk about. The exclusives at the time, like Halo, the first Halo game, CE, that was one as well. That it's just these kind of things, and her trying to go back to that is is really something that's important for the brand. And we didn't talk about it much, but what happened exactly? Why did the price of Game Pass Ultimate decrease a little bit there?
So I think it was from Forbes, or I think it was one of the media channels that we're talking about. They got a scoop. They're like, she herself stated that, like, one, people were leaving Xbox, like Game Pass. A lot of people just left it because the price was too expensive. So she herself decides like, no, it's too expensive. We need people back to drop the prices, and she was the one who did the decision.
I mean, we can still talk about the reason why because hey, things don't get cheaper for no reason, and she
True.
did remove Call of Duty from the service.
Yes. So one of the also main reasons were like like the price decrease was of the removal of Call of Duty, and I do agree with that. Like Call of Duty is for, I won't even say it's a very niche audience because almost millions of people play Call of Duty, but it doesn't have like, if you're pushing something to like an abhorrent price, and then you expect everyone, like, because not everyone's gonna like subscribe to Game Pass and play Call of Duty. Some people are on PlayStation, some people are on PC, etc., and they prefer buying the games. So causing everyone to suffer because you, Microsoft, decided to buy one of the largest gaming companies, Activision Blizzard, to bring it under your umbrella, and then make the customer eat the cost, really left a bad taste on everyone's mouth.
I
Hello,
mean, nobody
Bitfrost.
is.
Welcome. Sorry, you were saying.
I mean, nobody is like Call of Duty hasn't been the same since the early 2010s, the late 2000s, early 2010s. So, and to be honest, the last game, which was, I
Which
mean,
we
Black Ops
played
7 had its
proper.
had its had its so Black Ops 7 had its issues, but campaign more specifically, like
But
the
if
worst
you
campaign
recall,
I
last
probably have
time
ever
we, as
played.
a group of friends, played proper would be the during the pandemic, the COVID. Like we played Modern Warfare 1 or 2, I believe, and that's the last time I remember us playing COD proper.
I
After
mean,
that, it
even
just fell off.
but again, let's talk about that game in particular because that game was extremely divisive. There were a lot of good things about it, but there were a lot of bad things about it because we have gone to the point where even the good Call of Duty games are extremely flawed. Because can you really, if you think about the older ones, about like COD 4, Modern Warfare, World at War, MW2, etc., all the way up until 2012, did those games really have any weaknesses within their campaign, their multiplayer, the game? There was nothing where you were like, okay, this is so bad that, so divisive that this can, this would maybe ruin the brand or maybe would not get it. But we are so far gone from that time period that Call of Duty doesn't have the same name to it anymore. It does still sell like hotcakes, so there's that.
Absolutely.
But but if you're Ashish Sharma in this situation and you are essentially losing money by making COD day one playable on Game Pass, because technically COD still is going to be on Game Pass, but they're just going to release it a year later, a year after the initial release date. So if you're Ashish Sharma and COD is always going to sell well because you'll always have that die-hard fan base that they're just going to keep buying every COD every year forever, like Madden, like FIFA or FC now, like 2K, whatever. They're like it's like sports games now. They're like sports games essentially, and you'll always have that die-hard fan base. So if you're her, what can you do to kind of make money, but also appear very consumer friendly? Very simple. You lower the prices. You lower the price of Game Pass by $7, but you remove Call of Duty from Game Pass. And the people that still want to play Call of Duty can just go ahead and buy Call of Duty on its own. Because, I mean, what? If you save $7, 7 times 12, that's $84. Essentially, you are saving. Uh, you're essentially what you're doing is that if the full price of Game Pass or excuse me of Call of Duty is $70, and you're essentially saving $7 per month, that's $84. Hey man, the people that pay every year for Call of Duty, she just saved you $14. Now you can go buy the next Call of Duty and whatever. So this way she does two things. She makes profits off of Call of Duty sales from Xbox players, and she gets into the good graces of the gamers by decreasing the price of Game Pass. And there was something interesting she said that you did say that older Call of Duty games will still be coming to Game Pass. So you want to get you want extra gamer points? Bring back the old Call of Duties. And I'm not talking about from 2020 or 2019, Modern Warfare 2019 or Black Ops 4. No, no. Bring back the ones from the late 2000s and early 2010s. And people will start subscribing to Game Pass in a heartbeat.
Now, I do love that you mentioned the old game, like Call of Duty games. I do genuinely wish that they would bring the old Call of Duty games and add crossplay, because crossplay is becoming a very important thing in almost every
I
game.
don't think I don't think there's any chance that they will bring back crossplay on those older games, dude. It's
There's
I mean
always a
those
possibility.
games I mean those games are pretty much hacked to hell already. So bringing crossplay would be impossible.
Fair enough. Now, speaking of games, let's see. There we go. The Xbox exclusives. The return of them. Aisha Sharma mentioned that she wants to bring the age of exclusivity back because with Xbox games going on other competitor consoles, really, I feel added to the killing of the brand. Because what is the point of someone buying an Xbox if I could have a PlayStation, a PC, Switch 2, and I could just play Sea of Thieves or Halo or whatever? What's your perspective on that?
I mean, there is a discussion in regards to exclusives coming back. And if we talk about the exclusives, we got to talk about the main four, right? Which is Forza, Gears, Fable, and Halo. If you see the games that have already been put on PlayStation, other than Forza Horizon 5 and Sea of Thieves, the rest have not done very well in terms of sales. Even Gears of War, uh, the Reloaded edition, which was on PlayStation for the first time, sold about 1 million copies, which is it's fine, but it is a $40 price tag, so when people buy it, it's a little bit cheaper than the regular 70. But we talk about identity and we talk about how Xbox needs an identity. Your exclusives are your identity. And
Absolutely.
under no circumstances do you share your exclusives on other platforms. Unfortunately, the genie is out of the bottle, and I am hard pressed to see how she can put it back in. Now, can she put it back in and bring exclusives back? 100%. But we know that Halo, the combat evolved, the campaign evolved is coming to PlayStation. We know that Fable is coming to PlayStation. We know that Forza Horizon 6 is coming to PlayStation at some point in the future. And we know that Gears E Day, while not announced, we are suspecting that it will come to PlayStation at some point in time in the future. So if PlayStation recently said, hey, we're going to stop releasing our games on PC, and if you want to play Wolverine, you're going to have to buy our $700 console, which anyone would be insane to do. But if they can do that, I don't see why Xbox shouldn't just do the same. Like, hey guys, we're going to give you Halo Campaign Evolved, but the next Halo game that comes out, you guys got to buy it on Xbox, or you guys got to buy it on PC, you guys got to buy Game Pass, whatever. You want to play it, you got to come to our ecosystem, not we come to your ecosystem, because you need to take a stand somewhere. And Nintendo has exclusives, PlayStation has exclusives, Xbox needs exclusives. You need to have something that will get people to come to your ecosystem. When you're bringing your stuff and giving it to everybody, then guess what? Nobody's going to want your stuff. So she needs to balance that out. And I think a way she can do it is by making the exclusives timed. And by timed, I mean like super timed. Talking maybe 2 years minimum. But no mention of it being like a 2 year minimum thing. So Starfield, for example, there were a lot of rumors that Starfield was coming to PlayStation, but no one knew at what point in time it would come. And guess what? It didn't sell that well. But is that because Starfield was a mid game, or was that because it was a 2 year exclusive period, a timed exclusive? Well, Forza Horizon showed us that no, if you actually have a good game and sell it on other platforms, doesn't matter if it came out literally 4 years after it was initially released, people will spend $70 and pay full price, and you'll sell 5 million copies on PlayStation. So if I'm her, it's very important. You need to put you need to put your foot down and be like, okay, we got to keep exclusives. You want exclusives, you come to Xbox. You don't want to play our games, fine. Wait 2 years, wait 3 years. And we can get into like the topics of each one, for example. But for example, now that you
We'll
have
get
a
to it.
taste, now that the PlayStation players have a taste of Gears of War, what can you do? You can be like, hey, you guys want to play E-Day? Well, tough, because you got to come to Xbox to play.
Very well said. So we'll let read the first few comments, and then we'll get back to the exclusives. So the one thing NPC said, trick question, do not play Sea of Thieves ever. Yeah, last week, Mayhem played Sea of Thieves, and oh, the Monkey Island campaign was a drag. I kid you not. I think like I really wish Sea of Thieves brings back their long tails, but not in a way that like really drags on. Then we have Bitfrost saying, it's difficult to convince third parties developers to make Xbox exclusive. Sony has an advantage in that regard. Absolutely, they do have like sales by triple the margin compared to Xbox. But as you mentioned in your next comment, the age of exclusive might be coming back because of the rising PC prices. So new PC players might be convinced to go into a hybrid console, which we'll talk about later, which will be either the Steam machine or the Project Helix, which is the combination of a PC and Xbox. So now going back to exclusivity, one of my favorite franchises on Xbox being Halo, they recently from Forbes, they recently dropped what do you call it? Their battle royale. Thank God, because I really hate it when major corporations tend to chase trends, like which doesn't suit the game. But in return, they are going towards an extraction shooter. Now, when you hear an extraction shooter, what does your brain go towards?
I mean, Marathon is the most recently released one, and then you got the amazing Arc Raiders, which someone who shall not be named tries to keep begging me to buy. Um, but life is tough when you tell someone to buy a crappy game and then they try to convince you to buy another game. But anyway, I'm not gonna get into that movie game.
Oh, that's a story
So
for another time.
yeah, I'm not gonna go on a rant like some people. But anyway, the point is,
Okay.
when it comes to Halo, so I'm just gonna briefly talk about the campaign evolved. So it's just a campaign, right? There's no
So,
multiplayer.
so for this one, yes, it's all going to be the campaign. It's
Right.
going to release on
So
all
so look,
consoles.
so look, if you are gonna bring Halo, and you're gonna bring a game that was released 25 years ago, and you're going to release campaign only to PlayStation, like, look, man, it's fine. You want to have this really old game and you want to play it for the first time. That's cool. I mean, this thing has been out for 25 years. So if you're not going to play it in the last 25 years, I don't know why you would decide to play it now. Because we both know why they're remaking Halo CE for the second time. The point is just to bring it to PlayStation. That's it. And again, Asha's kind of caught here because Phil and Sarah Bond, they are the ones that kept pushing for this multi-platform release thing, and she can't really do anything now.
Well, no, I think like
So
whatever decision has been made, let it flow. And top of it,
I
there
mean,
is a
yeah. So
possibility where you could hook, line, and sinker PlayStation players or like any possible players that like not loyal to a brand with like a masterful campaign like the Halo CE. And then once you release your new console, you say, well, now Halo is going to be exclusive over here. You enjoyed Halo campaign, you gotta play it there, nowhere else.
exactly, exactly. Because if I am a consumer and I want to buy a next-gen console, let's 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 not talk about like we'll talk about the next-gen console stuff later. But if I'm a consumer and the next-gen consoles if I didn't know anything about either one, and I had Xbox and I had PS6, and I knew that the Xbox exclusives were coming to PlayStation 6, why would I buy an Xbox?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like that's that's the major mistake where Sarah Bond and, as you mentioned, for Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer made the mistake. There was no reason for anyone to buy the Xbox console
Well,
post.
well, so you're right about that, but I also think it's a little disingenuous, and I kind of feel bad for Phil and Sarah in this respect. It's that
They were
apparently
handed a
there
very bad launch of a console thanks to the previous CEO. I keep forgetting his name
that's true, but
because of the
also
DRM
let's
stuff.
not let's not pretend like but let's not pretend like Microsoft is totally clean of all of the problems. So I believe, and it was heavily reported by like a lot of reporters in the know, that Xbox had given Sarah and Phil a 30, like they had to make a certain amount of money on Xbox. I believe it had to be like profitable by like 30% or something. I
Yes, yes,
I don't know the numbers in particular. And they're like, this is the and that is insane. That is insane. So if you're Phil and Sarah and you need to you need to get your sales to this point. What can you do to increase the sales? Because no one is buying your console because you're increasing the price of it. No one's buying Game Pass because you just increased the price of it. And no one is gonna buy your exclusives because guess what? You're just putting them on. So what they did was they took the exclusives, put it on PlayStation, said, "Here, see, now we're making a lot more money because we brought it to PlayStation." But at the same time, you have completely destroyed Xbox. So I
absolutely.
I think that it is I do think that it is unfair to them, but at the same time, let's not like you mentioned before, and that I alluded to. You want Halo? Here's CE Campaign Evolved, but the next Halo is going to be exclusive to Xbox/PC. So if you want to come play the next Halo game, you got to come and buy our console or
It could work.
Game
You never know.
Pass, right? And you were talking about and like just not to interrupt, but you were talking about like the battle royale.
Yes.
Apparently that was canceled, and then
Yeah.
they wanted to change it to this extraction shooter, but I don't think I
So
think they may have canceled that too, by the
no, no,
way.
no, no. So the extraction shooter, they actually are working on it. And you mentioned two PvPvE extraction shooters. Now, what apparently I read in Forbes was they're pushing towards a second type of extraction shooter, which you played and you enjoyed, and you got the skin for a specific Halo character. I think it was the Recon skin. Helldivers 2. They are apparently working on an extraction shooter similar to Helldivers 2. Now, what like is it? I hope to God it's going to be during the Covenant Human War, because that'd be the best time to play as, you know, ODST. And yeah, that's the direction they're going with. They're not going with like the PvP version. They're going with the PvE version.
I mean, if you're gonna make that extraction, well, the funny thing is that I believe before Helldivers 2 was released,
They
that
were working on
343
it,
Industries were actually working on a
and they pitched it to
similar game,
Microsoft,
and they pitched
and
the
was
idea to
shut
Microsoft,
down.
and Microsoft was like, no. And here we are, and Helldivers 2 is doing very well. Halo has been pretty much just just static for the last, I don't know, 10
They
years.
should. I believe they really
Um,
should experiment with the games again, like bring some to mobile, like with Halo Spartan Assault. They should do a third attempt with the RTS. It was a very well done game with a lovely story. They should. Halo is a very strong brand, and it has a lot of potential. And they shouldn't just stick to FPS, because a lot of people like tend to read the novels. Well, I think the OG fans read the novels, but like I do believe like it has a lot of potential. Like for example, we'll use an example of Warhammer. Warhammer as a franchise is very strong. Not a single Warhammer game is the same as the other, because one, they use a shotgun tactic. They give their franchise to a bunch of different developers, and each developer makes their own game. What is their strongest suit? Once they're done, they release the game. It's a success. It's a success. It's a failure. Well, they tried. So I think maybe Halo could go towards that direction where not more of a shotgun tactic, but more of a controlled way. It's like, okay, you guys know how to do RTS? Do this. You guys know how to do extraction like Helldivers? Do this. Halo Studios, you guys keep working on, the mainline games and FPS, which you have the most experience about. And I don't know, like throw in
I
like
mean,
a mobile
I
game here
mean,
and there.
look, I mean, you remember Firefight from ODST?
Yes,
That was really fun.
it's
What if you
you
just
could call
had
it like a beta extraction shooter.
Yeah, but if you had, let's say, something like that, but on a wider scale, with more enemy variants, different locations, that I think that could work. And if you'd like made it exclusive, like it would be the Xbox version of Helldivers, maybe you could release it later on PlayStation because it's just a just an extraction shooter type. But yeah, I don't see why that doesn't work. I think the issue is that it isn't just Halo mainline games that have been slowly released over the last uh, 14 years. It's that Halo games in general have just slowed down to a grind. Like, remember, we used to get one mainline Halo game every 3 years. Then we got ODST 2 years after Halo 3. Then we got Reach the following year after that. And that's what? 5 Halo games, not including Halo Wars. That's 5 Halo games in almost 10 years. And since 2012, when Halo 4 was released, it was Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo Wars 2,
Guardians.
and Infinite. That's 4 in 14, and excuse me, in 9 years, or about, let's say, about 10 years. So that's 6 versus 4, and the timeline between them, it just gets longer and longer because
But that's
Infinite was
I
released in
think that's a
2021.
curse of a lot of um AAA developers that because they've grown so massive, their teams are so massive, communication stagnates between teams and it becomes too, I want to call it monotonous. I would call it, people tend to become like very autonomous with their tasks and they just function slower and slower and slower. We've seen games like, let's say, like, let's use example EA, Ubisoft, Activision, like Activision just doing the same game over and over again. But like, you don't see much innovation from these companies anymore. There used to be like proper pressure. I always use the word pressure. Proper passion from these teams. But I feel like once management got too corporate, it just drained everyone, and anyone who used to be passionate about it has left.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's got a lot of work to do, and bringing back exclusives is the first thing, and then turning them out on a constant basis, having them of good quality. That's that's also something that she's got to do because no one's going to buy your console if the games are not that good, regardless of if they're exclusive or not.
Miss Sharma, give us what you call it, an amazing Fable game. Give us, man, what was that dark? Ah, damn, I forgot the name of that game. With like, they were working on it. They made a new company for it, and then it just went. So the project went
Oh,
bad.
Perfect
Perfect
Dark
Dark,
something.
yes. Like really, really, like they really gotta hunker down. Just like because he was the issue with let's say Phil Spencer when he was like on top of let's say Redfall, right? A lot of certain game companies when they got bought up by Xbox, they're hoping maybe some projects would be cancelled because it wasn't their strong suit. But Microsoft at the beginning had a very hands-off um, premise where they're like, okay, you guys know what you're doing. You've made games before. Do what you want and bring us success. And they left them to do what they want. That was the issue with Redfall, where a lot of their developers were like, "This is not the game we want to work on. We were hoping Microsoft would see this game and cancel it. For some reason, they greenlit it even more. So I do hope, like, when they see something that's like not working out, it's fine. Cancel it. Don't fire the developers. Cancel the project. Move on to the next one. and try to work with the bits and pieces. Similar to what happened with Overwatch. It was supposed to be an MMO. They took back Project Titan and made something successful, which is Overwatch from it. Let's see then. And of course, Aisha Sharma. Earlier in this podcast, we did mention that she was, and in the previous episode also, we mentioned that she was head of AI. People were very skeptical. And wait, hold on a second. Let me just read this comment. Project Titan wasn't the same as Overwatch though. Just had recycled assets. Well, that's the thing, right? You could still use recycled assets to make something successful, and Overwatch is evident of that. Not just Overwatch. There are other games, like for example, Windrose. Windrose was supposed to be a free-to-play MMO with a lot of monetization, but the team decided against it, and they talked to their player and talked to some of their beta testers and player base, and they changed a lot of the things to make it buy it once, that's the game you have, end of subject. They really sorry, like there is always a possibility to save a project, or even you can use the assets to make something new. Doesn't mean you should just dump the project and, you know, or like fire the team because they couldn't reach their goal. Now, going back to the topic we're on hand, Aisha Sharma is bringing back the, like, I guess the lost era of Xbox with one we talked about is the decreasing of prices, two, the return of exclusivity, and now three, the bringing like some, it's not, I wouldn't say it's the OG, but something akin to the OG Xbox icon. And I love that. I think a lot of people just like miss. We also talked about like the return of that icon, and we missed that like
I mean, it
when
just looks
icon.
cool.
It not only just looks cool. Well, yes, the factor of cool is there, but like everything being super simplified with the same font and same look just killed every brand. Almost every brand just died. Like I'll bring in.
If she really wants to get on good terms, bring back bring back the dashboard designs from the older consoles
Oh my
on
god,
your newer one. Oh my, now
the
it'd
360
be probably
file
a
system.
nightmare. But just make it a theme. You know, it doesn't have to be exact same, because that sounds like it would be like a logistical nightmare to try to make that. But
Honestly,
just bring back the theme. You know,
I would
man,
love
that
to
would
see
be.
the first OG Xbox. I mean the 360 OG dashboard where there was a bunch of files you move around. It would just sometimes lag. Oh, it
For
was
me, I had
wonderful.
the Xbox 360 when they released the second dashboard, the one that was like vertical, like it would have like these square boxes, and then you could scroll to the right or to the left,
Similar to the
um,
Xbox One.
and you could. Well, no, the Xbox One had everything like right on your face. You know, it was looked like more of like a computer.
Oh yes, yes. Now I remember the
Your,
thing, the second version of the Xbox. I remember it. I
yeah,
remember it.
yeah, where the one where you could see your avatar and
Your
you could see other people's
avatar.
avatar, and then some people would like make their avatar of one of their cousins with a scar and a mustache, like as if he just came back from the future, akin to Terminator.
Speaking of which, um, they also made a brand deal with Discord, where if you pay for Discord Nitro, you get Xbox. Sorry, Game Pass Standard. Did you know that?
That's actually really cool. I heard that, but I heard about it. But I mean, for me, someone who doesn't use Discord Nitro, it's not really a big deal.
Same
But
here.
I can see a scenario where if you're on console and you just use Discord all the time, that you can use this, and it would be a great benefit. Like this is a really good, partnership.
It's a very
Like
good partner.
things like these
But
you
I
gotta have.
also kind of this is very, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very, like, as someone who's mainly on PC and uses Discord a lot, for to see console players also move on Discord makes it easier to communicate with. But I also miss that Xbox actually had the best party system in any console. Any console like was not comparable to the Xbox. Like remember, like we would have a party of like sometimes maybe 10 plus people in a single party, and there was not a single crash. Yes, there was sometimes like that weird NAT issue we would have, but that's it.
But again, like, here's another example.
Mhm.
Xbox Live, they innovated. They made party chat this thing. You know about all of the party chat shenanigans people have had, or the amazing environment of late 2000s Call of Duty game chat. You know, all that good stuff. It's like, it's kind of these kind of things that you got to kind of like bring back. Um, and she does have a chance next year to do it with her next gen console, but for now, I think she's kind of her hands are kind of tied. But I'm very intrigued to see what she'll do for next gen.
I do, and well, I really, really do have high hopes for next gen. Speaking of next gen, Project Helix. Um, the next Xbox, which is a combination of a PC and a console, similar to the Steam machine. The Steam machine once attempted that, but with Linux and with the backing of Alienware, but they failed. But since I'm still a bit scared. I mean, in other words, is scared. I'm just worried because Microsoft, for a while, their OS has been somewhat trash. Now, when the what you call it, the handheld Xbox, um, not the Legion Go, Asus.
The
Oh,
Xbox ROG Ally X.
the ROG Ally X had one of the best features, but the main issue people had with that console is that you had to update the console in three separate ways for it to like be in its perfect version. Like one you had to update for like the console itself, one you had to update Windows, then another time you had to update Xbox. If they find a way to put all of this into one, I think they would actually have a great console. But if it is a repetition of the ROG Ally, I just really, I think it might kill it. I wouldn't say it might kill the console, but it would really put a dent onto it.
I
Like
mean, I think
technical
that's what they're doing
issues.
right now,
I
right?
I hope, yeah, that's the thing, right? I hope they like it's as streamlined as the Steam Deck. Like I have a Steam Deck myself, and when I heard the issues that people are having with their ROG Ally X or ROG Ally, I was I was honestly baffled. I was like, one update, like all the Steam Deck needs is one update, bazinga, you're good. But the fact that you have to update this console three separate times, one for the window, like one for Windows, one for Xbox, one for like the what you call it, like the console itself, and sometimes that you might have an issue with like the touchpads and stuff like that. Why would you waste your money? Of course, the Project Helix was it's definitely coming with a controller. You could of course buy a mouse and keyboard with it because it's a hybrid console. It could be estimated approximately 1,200 USD to 1,300 USD, which bit pricey, but compared to what we're seeing right now with with the advent of AI and with the certain crisis happening somewhere around the world, everything is skyrocketing. If they're able to manage to set a strong price that is a PC hybrid that is just has the power to do everything, and it's not just a console. You could use it for work. You could use it to like surf the net. You could play your favorite games on it. You could like maybe do some let's say editing or whatever, similar to what was advertised to the Steam machine. I think it would be top notch competitor to the entire of the upcoming generation.
I mean, you mentioned it very briefly how the operating system, the OS, has to be needs to be unified, and that's what they're doing right now, right? Because they're trying to essentially unify the Xbox OS with the Windows OS, and if they can find it where it works for both, or I guess where the next gen console, their next gen hybrid console, where it works, that's where their entire this is the foundation. This needs to be done and needs to be done very well. You can't go around screwing the OS system. In terms of design or in terms of the way it works, like these are things that are important, right? The UI, managing certain files, moving to certain games, having certain games come up, it has to be fluid and it has to be straight to the point. And then you can add a desktop mode, like I believe the Steam machine is trying to do. And you can then have your new Xbox console hybrid play Steam games. It can play emulators. It can play whatever you want to do. You want to write an essay on your Xbox, like you can do that, and it doesn't have to completely destroy, the entire experience and make it a hassle to go and I gotta change this menu. I gotta change this. Oh, I gotta update it. Oh no, I gotta do this. So so this is the most important thing. And you were talking about like potential. Like imagine the potential of a console that can also play PC games. Because if this essentially the Steam machine is a console. They even though they keep saying, well, technically it's a PC, they are selling it as a console. As someone or as like a consumer, they can just buy this thing and then just play games immediately. I don't have to worry about all that other stuff. I don't have to worry about building. I don't have to worry about buying a keyboard, a screen. I can just plug and play into my TV with a controller, and that's that. So if Xbox can somehow manage to essentially make their version of the Steam machine, but play your own console games, I don't see why it will be pricey. It will be pricey. But if I'm a consumer, and let's say the next PlayStation is, let's say, $900. I'm just because I've seen reports actually they may get up to 1,000. But for the sake of argument, I believe.
if the sorry, but
I
like
mean,
if the
how much
current
is the
PlayStation
PS5 Pro now?
currently it's $900 currently.
Right? So I'm trying to imagine a scenario where you would make your next gen console cheaper than your current gen console. Like that's not how it works. So let's say if the price is even remotely competitive. So let's say the PS6 is $900. And let's say the next Xbox is 1,200. But but with this next gen Xbox, you can play your PC games. You can play on Steam. You can play on the Epic Game Store. You can install emulators, and you can play emulators of certain other companies. You can also not have to pay for online because, like, let's be honest, the next gen Xbox you cannot have paid online. It has to be free. There's no way you
I
can call yourself a PC and have to pay for online.
absolutely, because here's the thing: you already have Game Pass on PC. PC players, they don't need to pay a subscription to play online with their friends, like unless you're playing certain games like World of Warcraft or whatever, like MMO, certain MMOs, like you gotta pay to play. But like if I buy Call of Duty on Steam or on the Microsoft Store or the Xbox Store, I never have to pay a subscription to play online. Like sadly, console players fell for that trap and they paid for that service. No, I really believe no, as you mentioned, that should not repeat again. Drop the online subscription, make it free for everyone. Just have the Xbox Game Pass. And second thing is going back to software. Currently, people are leaving um, Microsoft OS or like Windows OS for Linux because currently Windows has a lot of bloatware due to its forceful integration of AI. For the love of God, people who want to play a video game do not want to see a bloody AI in their console, just like causing it to lag or drop FPS or whatever. No, none of that bullshit. Drop the AI shit for people who want to use it for like working PCs, whatever. You wanna have a console that does one thing: play games to its maximum potential.
I mean, again, like that's the thing, right? Because now their concern is they're actually competing with Linux
Linux,
and with
Linux.
Linux and making sure that like if their OS, if their desktop stuff, like if they overtake Windows, they're in trouble. So what do you got to do? You got to just try to cut out all of that extra added fat with all of the extra added apps that they have that nobody is interested in. Maybe cut down. They got to so the thing is that you can actually see where it's gotten worse because ever since they've tried to invest heavily in AI, which interestingly enough, they've actually started to back away from that a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed, they've started to show less priority to AI because I think they feel like the bubble is about to pop any second.
God, please, yes. So RAM prices can go
So
back to
I
normal.
think that's why they might be reinvesting into the Xbox brand and into their Windows operating system because if the AI bubble does pop and after they've spent billions of dollars on it,
Which you already have.
essentially you just lost billions of dollars. Yeah, you just lost billions of dollars for what? For nothing. And you also don't have a functioning Windows and Xbox is like dead. Like dead, dead, really dead. So I feel like they have essentially gone back to what's made them successful about 15, 20 years ago, where they can be like, okay, let's go back to our bread and butter. Let's make the things that we are good at, the software, and let's apply that to our hardware. And let's see if we can get this next gen console up and ready by 2027. Because everybody's saying that the expected release date is in 2027. And for me, if I'm a consumer, some of the things that, like we discussed, Celery, and one of the topics that we had to discuss is like, what can they do in the next gen to get the brand back on track? And one of them is offer your console at and have it do a bunch of things that the competitors cannot do. So, PlayStation cannot run PC games. Uh, Nintendo cannot run PC games. That's one thing. So that's something that you know really separates you from the competition. The other thing, you need to bring back your exclusives. Period. There's no if, ands, or buts about it.
Absolutely.
I understand you making a lot of money. I understand you're making a lot of money out of it. And if you want, you can release Forza Horizon 7 5 years after you release it on Xbox, but it's got to be released later. It's got to be a super timed exclusive because guess what? Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 are coming soon. Hey, if I'm a PlayStation single player user and I love Fallout or I love Elder Scrolls and I gotta buy an Xbox to play my next the sequel to my favorite franchise, looks like I gotta fork it up because hey, if they're gonna do the same thing for Wolverine, why shouldn't Xbox do the same thing for those single player games? So it's this, and you were talking about the price. While they are probably still discussing the price or however much it's going to cost. I think one thing is as I believe Microsoft isn't actually as affected by the RAM shortage as everybody else because I believe they bought theirs in like bulk a few years ago, a couple of years ago, and essentially it's all of their RAM stuff is all theirs. So I do think 1,200 for a next gen console is a little expensive. I think 1,000 would be good. I would consider buying it on day one. I do have a couple of things that I would like to see. With the first one being how well does it play the backwards compatible games that I own. The second thing is does it have online? Do I have to pay for online? If I'm playing, let's say, Call of Duty World at War on my next gen console, do I have to pay for online? Another thing is how well does it run, let's say, emulators? Like how easy is it for me to use the other stuff? Let's say on, like, for example, Steam, and if I wanted to run emulators. That's the third thing, and I think the fourth thing is can I have that Xbox home, the sharing that we have on this gen. Like I'm sharing my account, for example, with someone else.
Oh
Do they
yeah.
keep that? Yeah, that's another thing, right?
Hmm.
So I think these four things are quite important, and if they can nail it, I don't mind. See, I don't think, I highly doubt that the next gen Xbox will be the same price as next gen PS6. It's going to be more expensive. How much more
Definitely.
expensive? That's the question. But will you make up for it by giving us a bunch of cool things that we can do or we can use? Yeah. Uh, let's say it's $100 more expensive than the next gen PS6, $200 more expensive. Would you give me free online?
I have to say one
I
thing
mean,
right now. Despite that, like Xbox has like a good competition coming up, PlayStation's ego is still hurt because Marathon has not done well. Let's not forget Concord has not done very well for them. Um, let's see. Will it run Halo Mobile Gotcha games? Shut up, you. Um, let's say like the PlayStation exclusives. Some of them have really hurt the PlayStation brand itself. Like specifically speaking, Marathon and Concord. Like Concord was just a stain on that brand. Like almost half a, maybe like almost 250 to 300 million wasted on that project. You'd question like, what's the next console I want to get? Is it PlayStation because they're taking the silly risks, or would I try going to something that's like more guaranteed that like I could have backward compatibility, PC games, etc. And on top of it, let's not forget also PlayStation. What's the other game? Ah, yes, Mothers of Remasters. Last of Us Remastered. Twice in a row. A same game got remastered twice in the same console. Last of Us 2. Which is so stupid.
yeah, I think The Last of Us Part 1 has been remastered twice, once for PS4 and once for PS5.
I, I think at one point I think I counted three. I'm not sure. I don't know. I gotta give me a sec. I gotta check this. How many times was mastered? So okay, yeah. The Last of Us was remastered for the PS4, remade later for the PS5, and then I don't know somewhere in between it got a weird remaster, something like that. Just so no, it's just so stupid. So let's see this. Total history. Ah, the PC port. Okay, okay. That's why I had it was multiple times in my head. And of course, Last of Us Part 2, which was remastered for the PS5. No reason. Yeah, so that's the fear you should also remember yourself if you're getting a PlayStation console, because one, they're not giving us Bloodborne. Two, they're remastering the Sam game from Neil Druckmann, and his next game is some weird bald woman in space, which is very off-putting. I don't
Ah,
know.
Neil Druckmann. What a what
I
a guy.
I wanna leave that guy for a specific episode because I have a list about the shittery
Bro,
this guy's
forget
pulled.
bro, forget that. Let's talk. Don't even get me started on his background, by the way. Guys, whatever you do, do not Wikipedia Neil Druckmann and where he was born. Do not.
Uh, he added his specific culture in The Last of Us 2 and used it as a reference in the story, just so like you know, Oh, it is an homage of my people. We are a traveling people,
Yeah,
always on the
yeah,
walk.
yeah.
Let's not.
Sorry,
Let's.
sorry, sorry. I'm not that sorry. I'm not in that part of my life yet where I've gone to politics as part of my podcasting career.
Neither
No,
have I.
leave this for 20 years down the line, man. After I
When we're all
retire,
Alex Jones crazy cuckoo.
I'm gonna put a tinfoil hat on my head and just have a new Alex Jones gif.
They're making the frogs gay. I
Yeah.
think let's end this episode on a very high note. We've discussed quite a lot. I'm very happy that you were able to make it today. Talk about like the Xbox, its what it was, what it became, and what's going to be hopefully in the future, and how it's faring up against its competitors, its exclusives. No, that's honestly we did discuss a very good amount on this special, and I'm glad that our viewers joined us and had a laugh about gacha games and stuff like that, and Last of Us jokes here and there. And do you have any last words you want to leave the audience with?
No. I would just like to, like I said, hey man, thanks for letting me on. It was fun talking about stuff. Maybe sometime in the future we can talk about some franchises from Nintendo that I'm also quite passionate about.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, 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 yeah. There we go.
Once this thing, the Wandering NPC Nodder is back, we'll set it up. I'll be off for a month. I'll be in the UK, so maybe
Oh, no, this is something. This is
yeah,
for
in the
something
future.
down the line.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
No, no,
There's
definitely.
there's no relevant news. If anything, maybe would have been good a couple of months ago, but yeah.
Well, definitely before the release of their new games.
I mean, yeah, yeah, something like that.
Yep, but let's see. Nintendo is my console, so that's my jam. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. I hope you guys had a blast. Thank you for your comments and everything. I was like really happy that you guys kept up with us. And wait, damn, the podcast on the full. Everyone, you just had to mention it, didn't you? All right. Anyway, take care, everyone. Ta ta.